Hello, I am Bentham, and welcome to the long-awaited second episode of Factslowrio. It's been a long time since the first one, and a lot has happened in the meantime, and so we've got plenty of time to discuss all the things that have taken place. First of all, for those who haven't seen the first episode, I'll quickly recap the idea of this particular series. So, in playing Factorio and making videos, I've experimented with running the videos at different speeds to make things go faster, and so on with Factorio playthrough and so on, because sometimes, it can be a little bit too slow when you're going at normal speed. You want to get through the video and see what cool stuff happens. And so I've done normal speed stuff, but I've also tried doing 4x speed videos. I found that was a little bit too quick and I had to sort of rush through to keep track of everything that was going on. So I dialed it back to 3x speed, and that's been a nice sort of balance that I've been using for a number of years that I think is it's good for getting through things quickly, but also leaving enough time to discuss everything that's going on. But sometimes you just want to be able to go through things in more detail. There's definitely advantages to going at normal speed with Factorio. You can go through all your thought processes as they happen and be a little bit more in-depth about what you're doing. But sometimes, like you don't want to sort of explain all of that. It takes a while to do it, and you sat around not doing anything in the factory in the meantime. So what I thought was that we'd try going the other way and seeing how that would go. So this is at 1/3 speed, and this means that we'll be able to spend as much time as we like looking at all the tiny little details of how this particular game of Factorio is being played. It has all sorts of advantages, like it doesn't take as long to make an episode. With the 3x speed episodes that I use, it takes an hour to record the footage to produce a 20-minute video, not counting, of course, all the time spent actually doing the commentary as well. But with this one, it takes no time at all. A 20-minute video barely takes more than 20 minutes, because what you're seeing in the 20-minute period is only 6 minutes and 40 seconds roughly of footage. I went a little bit over time with this one, about an extra 15 seconds, so a little bit of a treat this time round. But yeah, this is an idea that I came up with, and I'm very happy that it was quite well received. Mostly there were some dislikes, but the comments were generally quite good. People liked the video, and so it has returned at the time that was decided. What I decided with the way the series would work is that so that we could fully benefit from being able to think about things more and be able to just slow things down, I decided that the episodes would only come out once per year on this particular day. That seems like a good way of doing it, so that people don't get behind on the series, because sometimes you don't have a lot of time to watch YouTube videos, and so if a series is doing an episode every day, you might not have enough time to watch it. And some people have no free time at all, and an episode a year is I'm hoping the right balance for that sort of thing. So continuing on into the future, you can expect to see videos on this particular day of the year. I considered doing a 365-day rotation, but then that just makes it more awkward when it doesn't need to be. So by having it connected to a particular date, it's very easy to remember. And you don't even need to be subscribed to get the notification, because you'll always know that this is the day. So there we go, and hopefully all the people who watched the first episode will enjoy this one just as much. So let's go through what's happened so far. So currently we've had about 1 minute 20 seconds of gameplay take place. So what I've been doing in that time is gathering some coal, and I've just started setting up some new mining drills. I've set up 2 new mining drills on the coal deposit to get us coal twice as fast, because as we're expanding the mining rate of everything, we want to be able to keep all of our miners and our furnaces fueled. And the aim for this particular episode is to try and get some research done. That is the plan. I was hoping to maybe get just the first little bit of research done, or at least a science lab built at the end of last episode, but unfortunately we just didn't quite have the time. But everything is in place now pretty much. We just need to gather enough iron to be able to craft it. In fact, we might even have enough to make it right now, but for the moment I'm just running through all the miners and the furnaces, making sure they're all fueled and trying to keep them all running. It's a little bit difficult because we're still building up our supply of coal to be able to sort of leave the miners for a bit while we go and do other things. Because, of course, time is extremely important in this series. When you only get through 6 minutes 40 of gameplay per year, you really want to make all those seconds count. And that is something that I was bearing in mind as I was going, but still, there were some mistakes I made. For example, right now I could... Oh, but they... Actually, no, it started. I was thinking that right now I could be working on circuits, but I did actually remember to get some circuits being assembled, because we'll need those for the science lab. And crafting time is quite valuable to us at the moment. We want to be able to make more miners, furnaces, of course. At some point, we'd like to make more steam engines. I could do with a radar, belts for just general belting needs, and of course the science packs as well. We don't have any assemblers yet, and so any science that we do will have to be done by manually crafting the science pack. So that's something to bear in mind. But we set off... for a moment, we're going over to the iron thing, but then I think what I need is some wood, and unfortunately, there aren't that many trees very close to where I am, so it's really quite a trek and quite time-consuming to go and gather some wood. So we'll have to bear that in mind. We'll have to be quite frugal with our use of power poles and of wooden chests and things like that. I mean, we could use iron chests, but I don't like using iron chests. It doesn't take that long to unlock steel, and so I always go straight from wooden chests to steel ones and never use iron ones. But we might have to resort to that to be able to make the most of our time. So at the moment I'm running around trying to find some new trees, and I really do have to go quite far afield considering how little time we have to go get it. Like, just as annoyingly, all the trees around here just give 2 wood rather than 4. Again, that's quite important. But I decide to go with that for now. There's some more over to the west there, but I decide that I've got enough to be making a couple of power poles at least. So I'll be able to get by on that. So getting back up to the iron place, we've now left it for like a good at least 20 seconds. So there's plenty of iron to be grabbed from here, but we'll also have to work on resupplying everything with coal, of course. Anyway, I decide to start undertaking the quite significant task of making the first science lab. The unfortunate thing about this being that for a while I'm not going to be able to craft anything else. I'm just going to have to work on that. I mean, if I really need something, I can cancel the craft and restart it later and I'll have all the intermediate components, but I'd really like to get this done. My original thinking at the end of last episode was that I'd pretty much immediately start on the science lab, but I decided to boost the iron supply first so that we'd still have something to do in the meantime. While this is being crafted, we can work on putting some coal into some of the miners and stuff that are running out, and so on. But now we're on the main craft itself, making the science lab. So the next thing we need to do is start making these science packs. So I get those queued up just before the lab is ready, so we don't waste any time. And when we arrive back at the steam engine, we can plonk it down and begin our research. And of course, the first research we're going to do is automation. We want to be able to get a assembling machine up and running so that we can get this stuff crafted independently of our own crafting cube thing. So get that going, but we have to wait a second for the first science pack to be crafted. To try and get things going as quick as possible, I wait at the lab so that I can plonk the first science pack in as soon as it's ready, and there we go. Reaction time wasn't great there. That's the thing. When you're going at a third speed, you can really notice the sort of the wasted seconds where I could have been, I could have already put that science pack into the lab, but my reaction just it was no good. We need to work on that. Anyway, over to the stone mine where we've got some more stone mined. I decided to grab some. At the moment, at the start of a game, I always like to keep a multiple of 5 in terms of stone because it's pretty much only going to be used for making the miners, the furnaces, and boilers and things like that, which are made of furnaces. And I made a mistake there while I was over there getting that science pack finished, and I wasn't there ready to put the second one in. But we now have 2 ready, so I put both of those in, which means that it'll be a decent few seconds before we need to resupply. But I decided to hang around a little bit longer. We're currently crafting fairly rapidly, and so once I've got 2 more done, I plonk those in. So that is 5 total put into the science lab, so that is enough to get halfway to completing automation, and we're working on the next 5 while we go over to visit the iron mining area again. to check up on that situation. I don't know if I resupplied on coal while I was over there. I hope I did. Yeah, I did. We now got over a stack of coal, which is going to be very good for making sure all these things are well fueled. I even consider setting up another mining drill, and in the end I go for it. I decide to make another mining drill and another furnace to further increase the iron mining rate. At the moment our iron supply isn't too bad, but we want to make sure that, you know, a stockpile is being built up, and now the coal situation is improving quite a bit. We've got that sort of capacity. We might as well make use of our crafting queue after it's finished working on the science packs. I'll have to make sure to get back to the lab soon though, because it won't be long before it's finished with the first 5, and we'll be ready for the second 5. You can see in the top right that it looks like we're on the 3rd or the 4th science pack already, so I definitely don't want to spend too much time messing about with the coal here. We'll get it finished and go from there. The current thing that I'm sort of aiming for is to get 10 coal into each miner and 6 coal into each furnace. That seems like a good ratio to make sure they run out at roughly the same time. And it means that I should have just a little bit of coal left for random other things. It should work quite well in terms of how many miners we have so far. I get that sorted, and right on time the next miner and the next furnace are finished, so that we can plunk those down as well. And then we can use what remaining coal we have to fuel them. It worked out perfectly. We've got 16 coal, so we can put 10 in the miner and 6 in the furnace, which is quite nice. Then we can make our way back to the science lab, where I think we might have run out of time there. The research might have stopped, which is we really need to work on that, because, you know, time is short. We're already more than halfway through the time that we have available. We don't want to be wasting any of it with the science lab not being operational. I would like to be able to get a second bit of research done before the end of the episode, but at the moment that's not looking very likely. Anyway, we've arrived and we put the next 5 science packs in, so that should keep it running for a good while, and I've started crafting another 20, so that as soon as automation is done, we can work on the first logistics research, and then we'll be able to make splitters and underground belts, and I think fast inserters as well. But while the research is going on, we now can sort of work on other things, so at the moment I would like to be able to get an assembler in place, but of course we're still working on the research for that. But I can make a radar, so I decide to queue up one of those. But it is going to take a while for it to be ready with the 20 science packs queued already. So what I might end up doing is cancelling some of those crafts to let the radar be finished sooner, because it shouldn't affect the science rate. As long as we keep putting the science packs that we've crafted into the lab, we should be okay in that respect. Making decent progress with automation. We're about 3/4 of the way there at this point. I think we've just started with our 7th, so not quite there, but we will be shortly. And perhaps we can get some assembly going before the end of the episode, but that might be a bit of a stretch with how things are going. Anyway, hopping through the menus, I'm not good at navigating the menus still after all this time. I always forget where things are, especially seeing as, like, occasionally they get rearranged when an update comes along. Anyway, while we're working on that, I'm decide to make another mining drill and another furnace to double our copper mining rate. And shortly we'll have our radar ready so that we can plonk it down somewhere. We'll have to make some more power poles for that, though, to extend the power so that we've got room there. Anyway, while all that's going on, we could talk about what's happened since the last episode. And I actually made some predictions the last episode that I said that we probably would have seen 0.13 and 0.14, and maybe we would have seen 0.15 by now. And as it turns out, we are now in 0.14.22, the final stable version of 0.14. When the first episode was made, it was 0.12.29, again the stable one. And so prediction was pretty close. It's even the case that 0.15 is happening very soon, like in a week or so it would seem, though there's still some variability in exactly when that will happen. And of course, when the next episode comes along, oh, and by the way, we just finished our automation research, so we've hit our target for today's episode. We start working on logistics next, carry on putting together the copper stuff. But yeah, I would imagine that by the time we do the next episode of Factslowrio, we will be on the final release. I believe the current plan for Factorio is that 0.16 will become 1.0 once it's stable, and so we'll probably be in the full version by then. And who knows what crazy stuff we'll have. People in the comments made predictions that the Spidertron would have been implemented by now, but as it turns out, well, it's hard to say whether that's still in development or not. There have been sort of hints that maybe it's being worked on, but it's possible that it's just been sort of abandoned as a bit too weird or whatever. Still something I'd like to see. Also, I'd like to see the end game be expanded, and at the moment I'm not sure what plans there are for that. Whether the original plan for making the space platforms has been scrapped or not, which is possible because it doesn't, like, looking at the current roadmap for Factorio, it's not actually listed on there, even though originally it was supposed to be done in like 0.13 or something. It sort of got pushed back 2 updates every time one update came out, so perhaps that's gone a bit too far now and it's no longer something in consideration, which would be a shame, but there'll be a mod anyway, probably. So we've got our radar working, and science is going nicely. We started working on logistics. I would have hoped, it would have been nice if we could have got it done by the end of this episode, but I think at this point we just aren't researching fast enough. Maybe if we made a second lab, we'd be able to, but I decide not to go for that with this particular episode. Maybe next episode I'll work on that. Though I think next episode the big focus will be working on setting up assembly, now that we have assembly machines working, being like researched, and we're able to make them. So maybe by the end of next episode we'll have the nice assembly square made that I always like to make, where we have one making gears, one making red science packs, one making copper wire, and one making circuits, and then that would be a nice foundation on which we could then start making a bunch of other equipment without having to spend so much time making all the individual components. And we'd also not have to worry about manually crafting any of the science packs anymore. So we're going through the mining drills again, putting in the coal, trying to keep up the supply. Perhaps we could get it belt fed. I'm now working on belts, so soon, maybe by the end of the episode, we'll have about, I think, 40 belts. It'll be ready, just for sort of miscellaneous use. I just felt like it was a good idea to have them. So I just set off those crafts. We might as well make use of our crafting queue while we're not doing anything else in particular with it. Yeah, as well as the sort of predictions about how Factorio would have changed, there's a lot changed on my end as well. I've got a new microphone for a start. It's a much better one, much higher quality, and that was one thing that I was thinking would be a really good thing about the series, is if I wait a year between each episode, then I'll have all sorts of improvements to my technology in the intervening time, and so yeah, the quality of this, I would say, is significantly improved thanks to the situation with the new microphone. So that is very nice. No longer using a headset, actually using something. Well, at the moment it's on my desk. Really, it should be on like an arm or whatever. But for the moment, this is what I have. And so maybe by next episode, I'll have it on an arm and I'll have a pop filter, because currently I don't. And I'm just sort of making do and trying to sort of make up for not having one by being a little bit further away from the microphone and so on. Anyway, checking the power situation, got to keep an eye on how the power is faring with a science lab and a radar running. Seems like it's doing alright, but like if we added in one more radar, I think that would be too much. So that's another thing we need to look at doing next episode, getting another boiler and another steam engine in place to make sure we don't have any power issues there. Maybe we could go further with that, but at this point I'm asking quite a lot of my future self. You know, there's only another 6 minutes and 40 seconds, and being able to make 4 assembly machines, a whole bunch of inserters, some extra belts, and like another steam engine and boiler, and maybe even more than that. It is a big ask, so have to see. But at least we have the belts ready, so we won't have to work so much on that in the next episode. See, I'm looking through, seeing, is there anything in particular I want to be crafting on the side? Well, I've got to craft an assembly machine. We're running out of time now. We've got like a minute of the episode left, but I think there's enough time to be able to craft one. Probably not do anything with it. Maybe I could just about get it running, making some science packs, but then I would have to load gears into it. I don't have any of those to hand at the moment. I'd have to manually craft those. I considered going over to the iron mines, but I realised there's not enough time. I need to be over here so I can build the assembler. And now it is ready. Unfortunately, we'll have to make... Well, I don't have to make some new power poles, but I decide I want to put it in a particular spot, which isn't currently covered by the power poles. So we'll put 2 more down. And we have another 2 available, though I think we're really low on wood right now. So that's another thing for next episode. We'll have to go and find some more trees to chop down. But I place the new assembler, and we set it up to start making science packs, and that is something we'll have to work on in the next episode. That's all we have time for this year, so I will see you again with this series in exactly 1 year's time. So, goodbye, thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.